Good afternoon. My name is Nevaeh Vizcaíno. Today I'll be discussing the impacts of cancel culture towards young adults. As time passes, cancel culture has become a defining moment for young adults in the U.S. with the rise of social justice movement and the rapid spread of information on platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. For example, a 2023 study by the Office of the Surgeon General warns that social isolation can cause long-lasting anxiety and depression. And a comprehensive review of 63 studies found a significant rise in loneliness and social isolation among young adults and adolescents, which closely tied to mental health challenges. Additionally, a Pew Research Center report found that nearly half adults ages 18 to 29 believe cancel culture acts as an unfair punishment that discourages free expression. These findings suggest that cancel culture not only boosts mental health, but also challenges it through increased social isolation among young adults, over limiting open and healthy dialogue online. This leads me to my research question. To what extent does cancel culture on social media platforms affect freedom of speech, of expression, and accountability among young adults? To answer this question, the health preservations must be taken into consideration. The psychological stress and anxiety resulting from the constant threat of public scrutiny develops in cancel culture. Young adults aware that single online mistakes can trigger a wave of irreversible backlash often experience chronic stress and heightened anxiety, so severe it causes clinical intervention or medication. Furthermore, research published in the Journal of Adolescent Health found that social media-driven accountability, specifically calling out or canceling, results in increased rates of anxiety and depression among young adults. This suggests that the physical toll of digital shaming functions as a form of social trauma, where the fear of being excluded overpowers the benefit of digital connection. Similarly, a 2021 report by the Center for Countering Digital Hate found that 60% of young adults believe canceling culture makes open discussion more difficult, fueling a cycle of fear and self-censorship. Social and cultural preservation must be considered. Cancel culture functions as a today's system of digital tribalism that replaces justice with permanent social destruction. According to Michael Lemont's research of Harvard University, the rise of cancel culture reflects a shift in social norms, where symbolic boundaries are enforced through public shaming to signal groups' moral support. This indicates that the primary goal of cancelization is often solidarity rather than the actual rehabilitation of the offender. A prominent example of this is the case of data analysis David Shore, who was fired after tweeting in a non-partisan academic study on the effectiveness of nonviolent protests. The mob justice described by author Jonathan Rauch led to Shore immediate termination, illustrating how even objective data can be treated as a moral failing if it conflicts with a specific moment. This is a bar graph of The Hill. It shows what extent that cancel culture has gone too far, showing a poll of people, showing all voters and Democrats and independents. After recognizing the complexity of this issue, I developed two potential solutions. The problem with cancel culture is that it creates a climate of fear that discourages open expression and replaces accountability with public judgment. To address this issue, schools, communities, and online platforms should prioritize digital literacy and empathy education, helping young adults with the skills to engage and understand responsibility while also being thoughtful online. For example, according to the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, social emotion learning programs increase empathy, decision-making, and responsible behavior, which are essential for navigating online conflict. However, while digital literacy and empathy education often in long-term change, they require immediate investment in education systems to ensure students are properly equipped to navigate online investments and to navigate online spaces responsibly. According to Common Sense Media, prioritizing digital literacy and empathy education society can empower future generations to replace culture with accountability, understanding, and meaningful dialogue. Since the list of limitations outweigh the implications, I developed a stronger solution. The main problem with cancel culture, according to Pew Research Center, is that it's prioritizing public punishment over meaningful accountability. Often preventing individuals from learning and growing from their mistakes. To address this issue, communities, social media platforms, and influential public figures should shift from calling out practices to a more constructive calling in approach. However, although digital accountability reform promotes fairness, its effectiveness is limited. Unless social media platforms commit to constantly enforcing these systems rather than prioritizing engagement and profit, but if implemented, digital accountability reform can shift online culture away from punishment and towards growth in safer spaces, where young adults feel secure expressing themselves. Overall, the problem with cancel culture is causing it to hinder lives and limit open communication without meaningful changes. Society creating a future where individuals are afraid to express ideas leads to less breakthroughs, less dialogue, and deeper social divisions. Evidence used to develop my argument comes from these sources. Thank you for your time. Y'all have any questions?
Yes, thank you. So the first question, what evidence did you gather that you did not use, and why did you choose not to use it?
I found some sources that strongly supported cancel culture as a necessary tool for accountability. However, I chose not to use all of them because they were more opinion-based rather than supporting my data. I focused on evidence that included research studies or statistics so my argument could be more balanced and more credible.
And the next question, what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic?
I would say try to also think whether more certain platforms could contribute more